Major Music.
What's up? Coming at y'all with another video. It's your boy D Dot. If this is your first time here on this channel, or if you're watching this on IG, I like to talk all things music production. So things like new expansions, new sound kits, could also be new plugins, app updates, things along those lines. I like to talk all about those things here on this channel, as well as the Major Music Lounge podcast, which is why I made this video. Follow me on Instagram at d._majormusic, as well as go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're into some of the things that I was mentioning previously. And let's talk a little bit about the Major Music Lounge podcast. So that's going to be coming back on August 20th. And gonna be having some interviews with a couple of producers. Definitely going to stay tuned for that. But if you're not familiar with the show, I like to interview other producers, also looking to interview like sound designers, app developers, even artists are welcome. But what they like to do is come on, talk about some of the projects that they're working on, or if they released something recently, and then also people that may have had experiences with music publishing and getting placements with major artists and things along those lines as well. And sometimes we like to just chop it up about music production, generally speaking. It's just a platform that I created for others who also create music. If you're interested in being a part of the Major Music Podcast, you could actually either hit me up on Instagram. I give that out one more time, d._majormusic, or you can email me directly at majormusicent@gmail.com. Let me know you're interested in being on the show, and we'll get you on at our earliest convenience. And I appreciate all the support in season 1. Season 2 going to be looking to bring even more music producer interviews and kind of branch out as far as interviewing people from just different avenues that have to do with music production as a whole. So definitely check that out. And if you're not familiar with the show, as I was saying earlier, go ahead and listen to some of the episodes here on YouTube, as well as all podcast streaming platforms. Get familiar with it, and let me know what you think. I'm looking for more guests and looking to grow the listener base as well. So appreciate all the support, and see you all on August 20th with some new episodes. Until then, stay tuned and check out some of the clips from previous interviews. Shout out to all the guests that appeared on season 1. And until next time, I'm out.
In 2011, that's when you were actually on my show for the Producers Corner. I actually listened to that interview maybe about 30 minutes before we started this one. And at that point in time, it wasn't quite platinum as of yet. So tell us a little bit about, did you ever think when y'all were in the lab creating that song, it ever had the chance to become a platinum record?
Well, I tell this story a lot to my friends. A lot of the people that's close to me know this story. And, you know, me and Cupid laugh about it a lot. Everybody thought it was, except me. And that's crazy. But that's only because, you know, I always listen to records from the musical side, the producer side, the psychology side. You know, a lot of my friends always tell me, "Oh, Fat, you're thinking too much. You put too much thought in." The funny story about that is, when me and him actually worked on the song, I did not like the beat at all.
Wow.
Like, I completely was like, man, this is too simple. Like, I get the whole concept of less is more, but, you know, I was really like, man, let me add some keys, let me add some breakdowns, and he kept saying, no, Fat, I'm telling you, leave it like it is. This is perfect. And I'm like, dog, okay, this is your song. You the one gotta go out there and push that. But don't tell nobody I made this beat. And it's ironic that the one song I told him not to tell nobody I made the track is the freaking song that got a 3 million sold plaque hanging on my wall today. So I didn't think it was gonna be that, you know, but the people made it the song that it was.
What I wanted to ask, you know, what I usually ask everybody, first question, tell me a little bit about your journey as far as when did you get started with creating music, and how long have you been creating music?
Yeah, so I started I started music quite a while ago, like probably in the early 2000s. However, I didn't really start applying myself or taking things seriously until 2012. That is when I really made a choice that music is definitely something that I want to make a part of my everyday life. I want to create a sustainable income from it. And I'd like to be able to really, it wasn't about the income, actually. It was more about engaging my passion and my gift of music and actually applying it into my life every day, because I had a strong feeling or strong will that if I engaged my passion in my life, that would bring me a lot of fulfillment and happiness and purpose in life. So it wasn't until 2012 that I really put my head down. I started really practicing my skills, my vocals every day. I was singing every day. I was going out performing like open mic nights, because I started out as a singer-songwriter. So I was playing my guitar and writing songs and singing. And so I was like really applying myself since then, since 2012. And ever since then, my life has only just grown. You know, it's just kept kind of like opening doors, new doors, and expanding on what I'm doing. So, yeah. That's a short.
You have to really be dedicated. You know what I mean? It is tough to find those spaces, and you have to be selfish at times. So, you know, where there's times where I'm hanging out with the kids and we got plans. Sometimes I'm like, look, Saturday mornings, I got a show to do. You know what I mean? You just got to put your foot down. It's time consuming, but I mean, now I'm going to go into overdrive. So if you thought I was doing a lot before, man. But, and the thing with We Sample, we never want to take away from what one person is doing. Like, we encourage that, you know what I mean? I encourage each of these guys. Yeah, do that, do this, because we're not in competition. You know what I mean? And I think that also says a lot for the internet nowadays. It's not so much everyone's in competition. There's enough, you know, to go around for everyone. And what someone might learn from one person, they might learn better from another person. You know what I'm saying? Not to say, you know what I mean? Oh, this person got a video like that, or this person got. There's something out there for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, I started doing Akai MPC videos. I didn't want to, because I felt what you said. There's tons of stuff out there already. You know what I mean? But I have so many people in my comments begging me to do more Akai that I'm like, okay. And I see that's what it is. Sometimes you might not want to, you know, you might not vibe with the person on YouTube.
And and another thing too, man, is I was trying to get that to work, but didn't have the time, man. But rest in peace, man, to Patterson, man, Trap House, man.
Oh yeah, man, that was sad, bro.
That was devastating, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, life is real short, man. And from what I see, you know, man, you know what I'm saying, he did great things within this community, you know what I mean? Time, like, in the same effort Nipsey was, you know what I'm saying? He just didn't really have the budget, but he had the people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, rest in peace to that good brother there, man. I met him and chopped it up with him a few times, man. And hell yeah, he even, you know what I'm saying, showed me love of my music, you know what I mean? I was like, so, yeah, man, rest in peace to that brother, man, because he moved, man. He had the movement going.
Yeah, he had something real going. It was a shock, because, like, when I found out, it was probably in November, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just noticed he hadn't posted that for a while. Like, you know, you just notice certain people just don't post for a while. Then he posted again, and, you know, he announced that he was sick, and it just happened rather fast, man. And you know, it made me sad for the simple fact that, you know, like you said, there was a little kid, I think his name was Alex.
To ask you this question, but what made you at that time want to start Icebreaker Radio?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, like what Trey was talking about, we went to audio engineering school, and I think that was in 2007, Trey, when we was doing our thing. And then because I remember I got married 08, 08, 08, and then so I think it might have been in 08, 2008 that we kind of got together and went through it. Well, you know, my uncle, you know what I'm saying, and you know, he ran a decent program, but we were so far advanced for his class, and we were looking to get into more advanced stages of the record business. And so, primarily for the most part, we both made the decision to kind of, um, you know, venture off and work together, do a couple things. He was impressed with my rap skills at the time. Yeah, I do rap.
Some career stuff, and I just didn't come back. But I did, like I say, periodically I came back, and finally, it's been 3 years, but really it's been a year and a half that I can really say I'm fully back. I think initially when I tried to come back, I wanted to do a podcast because podcasts they were getting popular, and I wanted to do that. That didn't work out. I dabbled and dabbed in some tech stuff. That didn't really work out. And so I said, you know what? Stop playing. You need to go back to doing what you love to do, which is music, and teaching people how to work music equipment, software, so forth and so on. So yeah, man, I found iOS. iOS sparked me because I had been working with Reason for so many years. It really didn't excite me like it did before. It was kind of an old UI that hadn't really changed a lot. So I was watching somebody on YouTube, and they was using the iPad to make beats. I had an iPad laying around my house that my wife had bought me for Christmas. So I was like, yo, let me check this out. And man, it was simply amazing. It amazed me that I could make a beat with something that I used to watch Netflix with. You know what I mean? Or do my bills or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just cool to me. And I thought to myself, this is the best way for me to come back to YouTube because again, I had 1,000 subscribers. So that it didn't make it any easier for me to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It's not
Talking about that, like, what got you started with the whole iOS production thing?
I mean, honestly, like, so, like, I've been producing, like making beats since like '99, or whatever, and it got to a point with me where it was like, you know, most people they produce because they're like, oh, I want to get a placement, I'll keep it a buck with you. I don't care about placements. I don't care. Not because of any lack of confidence in myself. It's just more so because I'm older now. I'm not gonna be out here like sacrificing all this stuff to possibly get like, you know, $2,500 or $5,000 up front, and maybe I might see it back in. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. For me, like, production it's a part of my life. Making beats is a part of my life. If it should happen to lead to some money, dope.
Yeah.
Dope is all hell. But if it don't, you know what it does lead to? It leads to my sanity, it leads to my happiness. So I always like would keep like a laptop with me. My laptop, I dropped it a few times, you know what I mean? It was acting a little janky, like the screen. It was, you know, the old black MacBook. So I had like the screen had a line down the middle of the screen. And so I had like, I mean, I still got the laptop, but it don't work because I dropped it so many times. So you can't see nothing. But I was running Reason on it. So I would just make beats on Reason on that, and then come home and put on a big computer, you know, just take the file, put on a big computer. And so I had Beatmaker 1 on my iPhone 3G way back. You know what I'm saying? But that joint, yo, I don't know if you ever messed with Beatmaker 1, but Beatmaker 1, for me at least at the time, it was like pulling teeth just to get like an 8-bar loop. I made one beat on it, and like, because it took so much work.
You know, direct to consumer.
And you know, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because when the South was kind of coming up, that was when digital music started becoming more of a thing.
Right.
And you talk about independence. I mean, in the 90s, you had these guys selling CDs out of their trunks.
Popping trunk, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, driving across the country.
Yeah.
And I mean, now it got to a point where, you know, the independent game just got better for everybody, really, and they started distributing their own music.
Right.
And it just, it propelled a whole nother generation of artists. And I felt like,
you know, a lot of the artists probably from our generation and the ones coming up after are
Right.
a lot more business savvy when it comes to releasing music.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because what it did is, it just forced you to be more well-rounded, right? Because although you wanted to just, man, I just want to be in the studio making music, man. I don't care about that. I want to be in the studio making music. I want to be making beats. I want to be writing rhymes. But it's just like, you got to get your business straight, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're creators, but it's also a business on the back end. And you should be getting paid what you're worth when you put that music out, right? It's only fair to you as an artist, as a beat maker, as a producer, that once you throw that out to the world, that every penny, I don't care if it's $1, but every penny comes back to you.
Talk to us a little bit about, you know, the evolution of iOS production. I know you talked about how it is the future, but from where it's came to now, what's your thoughts on a lot of the evolution of iOS music production?
Sure. So, I mean, where we are right now in the overall, I'd say, evolution of the iPad with music production is maybe circa, PCs, maybe circa 2010, maybe right around there, 2005, 2010. So we're still a little bit early days. Like I said, I think it's really going to come into its own this particular decade here by the end of, but after 2030, just, every major producer will have some type of iPad setup, whether they're just using it for a sound module or they have a full-blown mobile setup. Like, it's pretty much, it's going to be a staple in the music production industry. But right now, it's still pretty early, and where it came from, it's pretty crazy to see where we are now, because you did mention the AUV3 standard. So I want to mention a couple things that really set the iPad now into in my opinion, a professional music production device. And one of those things was USB-C. So that was a very important thing, because we had to get rid of the Lightning so that we're not reliant completely on Apple's adapters, and so that we can pretty much support any type of class compliant USB-C device, like any type of USB MIDI keyboard or any type of USB audio interface. And now we're at the point where, man, all these manufacturers are designing audio interfaces and devices specifically for mobile music production. So, that's where we are right now. But where we came from is the big things were the USB-C that had to get taken care of, and the second thing really that had to be taken care of was the iOS. So we got something called iPad OS. And that iPad OS did several huge things for iOS and iOS music production. It gave us a full-on file system, which was absolutely huge in the form of that Files app. So we can now actually just be able to connect to our local server. We can be able to plug in any type of flash drive you want, any type of external storage. So that's absolutely massive. So those things are massive. Then we got a full-blown desktop web browser. So now the web browser inside of your iPad will believe that it's on a Mac. So there's no more, just browsing mobile web versions of websites, which was terrible. And then mouse and keyboard support is another thing that iPad OS came along. So now we have a USB-C, proper USB-C, connectivity. We have a mouse and a keyboard. We can hook up an external monitor even